Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I have a nice attacking game to share with you from the Top Chess Engine Championship Season 25. On the white end, Leela Chess 0, playing against Komodo Dragon. Okay, this one was played just the other day, October 5th. We have a modern defense. What are we going to learn from this game? Well, we're going to learn how to successfully attack on the king side with this specific variation, and that is the 3 pawns attack. Now we're not quite at the start position of this game. We still have a handful more moves. The structure is going to change a bit. White plays with space on the queen side. A bit more space with a4. This is an idea. White has an eye on b5. After the check and the block with the king knight, this is our start position. Notice the bishop eyes e5. If black tried to block with the other minors, e5 is an excellent follow-up. Okay, the first move of this game is knight c3. Queen knight favorite square. Black unpins the knight. King knight, same story, favorite square. Speaking of squares, b4 is sensitive. Now that a4 has been played, black would like to get a knight there. There's only one path to b4, and that is through a6. Why am I drawing attention to this? Well, if you try to scare the bishop away with a pawn right now, how does this guy get here? Be attentive to move order. We could already see the influence this pawn has on black's side. Taking away c6, it must be knight a6 first. Castles, knight f6. White says nice try. I see what you're looking to do. Trade your bishop for my knight. I have space. Let's keep 4 minor pieces around. Knight b4, queen e2. Only after the knight is on b4 do we have a6. Do you see what's happening here? Okay, the bishop is attacked. Anything else? Okay, it goes to c4, queen c7. How would you follow up here? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, in the game it is f5. Now I think a move that would tempt many players, myself included, especially with the queen on e2, is e5. This is a way you could go as well. Just want to note a couple things if you're kicking off with e5. This is considered the best reply knight immediately going back, and there's 2 things happening. One, increased pressure on e5, and the other, if let's say white tries to maintain this point, there's knight b6. Targeting the bishop, targeting d5 as well. Bishop b3, there's c4. Seems like one of the knights will track down the light square bishop. Maybe black has even better. All right. In this game, though, it is f5. Very nice attacking play with the pawns on the king's side. What's happening? Well, diagonal opens up for the bishop. You might as well call the f-file opened with this tension here. Pressure on a very valuable pawn, the g-pawn. White wants to soften up a square on black's king's side. f5 is that square. f5 is gambit play. In the game, black captures on f5. I had a look at a couple different moves here. I wondered, what if black sits? What if black doesn't concede the f5 square to white? Maintains the pawn on g6, in other words. So I had a look at this. How do you follow up if the bishop goes to d7? You simply hang on to the pawn. You maintain the space. Maybe g5 at some point. Okay. What about this maneuver here? I think this is the more natural move you may see many players go with. f5, after all, has a drawback. e5 is a hole. And in this position, I thought to myself, okay, a pretty decent move is probably developing the bishop, watching out over the e5 square. White would have better though. Much better. And that is the move knight d1. Now, just a bit ago, I said something to the effect of when a6 was played, you see what's happening? The bishop was, of course, attacked, but the other detail is that once a6 is played, this knight doesn't have a square. It takes away one of the few remaining squares from the knight. Knight d1 is threatening to trap the knight now. Okay, something to be familiar with. Potential vulnerability here. All right, in this game, g takes f. No capture on f5 here. That would help black develop a new piece. Coordinated pressure on c2. Forget about it. White already has the weakness on f5 and immediately looks to hop to it. The knight unmasks the rook. A lot of stuff is trained on f5 now. How should black play in this position? Do you take on e4 with the pawn or the knight? Which one would you go with? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, in the game it is pawn takes. There's a big difference between the two. If you take with the knight, white can take, and then, do you see the follow-up here? Here we go. Now that there isn't a queen knight and king knight around, this makes the king side much more weakened, but more than that, there's now an opened rank for a rook lift, and you could already see it. An exchange sacrifice eliminating the only defender for the black king. This would be an overwhelming attack for white, a winning attack for white. Okay. Pawn takes. Bishop g5 is the follow-up. If you try to take here, there's knight takes d5. So, more development. We continue with bishop d7. I questioned what if the bishop is questioned with h6. White could take the knight, and this position is so good for white, you could do without this knight. Knight takes e4, bishop takes knight. This is completely winning for white. There are still these ideas of the rook lift, both rook lifts. What are you doing with the bishop? It's a goner. h6 is going to collapse. What are these two pieces over here doing? All right. In the game, it is bishop d7. Rook a to d1. Now that this is supported, white's ready to take on e4. h6. The reply, the bishop goes back home. Now, I wondered in this position, why don't we take on f6? And here's the reason why. This is an ugly follow-up move, but this is considered equal. E takes f6, knight takes e4. The rook has some play on the e-file. Calls it even. Okay. No capture. The bishop back home stays trained on h6. Rook b8. We see what's happening here. Support for b5. Now comes knight takes e4. Knight takes e4. Queen takes e4. Let's pause for a moment. White is down the pawn, but look at the space white has. I mean, the first piece that sticks out to me in this position, the queens. Look at the difference in mobility for each queen. If I map all these squares out, legal moves for the white queen, that's 14 versus how many for black? 5. Also, the rooks. Maybe that's the first thing I should be seeing, but yeah, the rook activity as well. The forward moves for the white rooks versus the black rooks, non-existent. Currently, no forward moves for the black rooks. Okay, a lot of space to maneuver. Queen, perfect. Queen, perfect right in the center. Okay, in comes b5, a b, bishop e2. Another attacking idea here for white. Given the chance, white would like to exchange light square bishops and drop the knight in there. If this knight could get to f5 and stay there for a move or two, it's over. It's just way too good of a piece. So there's an idea now by white to play bishop g4, exchange light square bishops, and then hop in. So for instance, if c4, opening a diagonal, maybe ready to meet c3 with knight d3, there can be bishop g4, and we're getting this exchange, or we're getting a knight to f5. All right. In this game, black controls f5. There's a downside, though. g4 is not under control by the bishop. White hops to it. There's now a pin. There's now a threat. And to follow up, f5. What if black captures on d5 here? The knight hops in to this square right away. You have to take the knight. There's a mate threat. And this is a crushing attack. This is still a threat. This is an idea to kick the knight and go here, get the bishop on an excellent diagonal. I'll just highlight one variation. Let's say the king goes to the corner. You could already simply take on h6. That's how crushing this is. Bishop takes, there's rook h5. King h7, queen g5, and there would be checkmate next. Okay. In this game, it is f5. Queen keeps the pin. This is still a threat. Now it's defended. Pawns are broken up. This guy can fall right now. 2 attackers. 1 defender. A third is now thrown on it. The bishop wants to get there and land a skewer. Okay, white gets the pawn back and is clearly the better side. Safer king. That's one detail. Split pawns for black. All right, the queen goes to a7. Queen f2. This is targeted twice now. White's going to be up a pawn very soon. In the game, it's knight c6. If white takes on c2 here, there's bishop takes c5, hits the queen and boxes out the knight. This guy is soon to be trapped. All right. In the game, knight c6. White's now up a pawn. Let's see how to convert. b4 as a start. Fixes a pawn. And I guess we could also say restricts the queen. She goes too far. The b pawn can fall. It does fall in this game. f4, rook d1, bishop f7, king h1. Tough to really know the points behind king h1 here. Bishop f8. There go the dark square bishops. This is secure. Bishop b3, rook b1, bishop d5, and bishop takes pawn. What if what if black played a different move here? I wondered. Let's say the bishop goes to c4. How can you continue? You could exchange bishops and immediately look to run with your extra pawn. Okay. Bishop d5 in this one. White wins a second pawn and now has connected passers. Queen c8. So what would be your approach here now that you have these connected pawns? What would be your move? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, I must admit, I am in a way setting you up to make a mistake with this pop quiz in highlighting these passed pawns. Were any of you going for something like this so that the b pawn could move? Don't do that. There was a threat here with queen c8, and that is queen takes h3. Check, taking advantage of the pin, and there goes your bishop next. Black would be winning. Okay, careful, careful. The threat is parried. King g1, out of the pin. Queen e6, rook e1. And now the bishop goes to d3 and is ready to roll with the pawns next. All right, queen d7, b5. The follow-up, bishop to f7. Why doesn't the knight move in this position? If the knight goes here, this is considered an excellent follow-up. Perfect queen right in the center, hits the rook. c4, queen exchange. It's like white is playing up a piece with these connected passers. So in this game, back to f7, the bishop. So this is hit. The knight is hit. White defends the bishop, but more than simply defending the bishop, there's this still is a threat, and now this one as well, with check and the queen is a goner. So white's going to be winning a piece at this stage. There goes the knight. And let's see this conversion. 2 pawns and a knight up at this stage. Queen's on an excellent diagonal. Was hitting the rook. Queen g7. If the queen captures the pawn here, you could play knight g6. This is looking pretty good. Hitting the rook, ready to sweep into the corner. All right. Queen g7. Continues to advance. h5. Queen e2. Perfect coordination for white. Perfect network of pieces. Everything's defended. Bishop defends the queen. Queen's got the rook. Queen's defending the knight. Knight's defending the pawn. Defended. Defended. Perfect. The better coordinated you are, the less likely you're going to fall for some tactic, the less tactically vulnerable you are. Okay. Queen g5. c7. King g7. Knight g6. This guy was under fire. Back to the main diagonal. The rook is in a pin. This guy can't go too far now. That would be mate. Okay, rook e1. Some sacrifice. And there's no perpetual check or anything to worry about. There goes the promotion. Queen is distracted from defending the rook. We allow queen takes pawn check. Queen g3 check. Bishop blocks. You could take the rook here. In the game, it is queen g4. If you take the rook, I believe the game would simply end right away, because that would bring us to a 7-piece table base win for white. So what's played is queen g4, and we end up with a mate in 2. Knight f8. Only move is to block. Queen takes queen. Game over. What did you think of this one? Anyhow, feel free, as usual, to leave any feedback to this video in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe took a thing or two away. That's all for now. Take care. Bye.